sorrow, the archetype. In the vast expanses of nothingness I became. As I faded in, I was greeted with unknown sights, sounds. As I looked down, I noticed that I had other components to me. Arms, legs. I felt that something was growing within me. As I looked up again, I felt invigorated. The chamber I was in was filled with worried-looking beings. It seemed the one in front of me was analyzing my inception. He did a few passes over all my parts before bringing his attention to my face. You seem to be in working order. I spoke as soon as I felt I could. I could feel the air pass through my mouth as I did so. What am I? A small smile came across his face before he spoke. You are the beacon of hope. You are the bringer of balance. You are chosen, he said. Chosen? I replied, still rather out of it. The being turned around and addressed everyone in the room. It seemed to be a harmonious moment, however. After his statements, he asked everyone to leave. As they shuffled out, he turned back to me with his face in panic. Before I could say anything, something caught my attention. All the beings leaving the chamber were all facing the same direction, making the same movements. Something about the last being was different. I felt as though there was a connection of sorts. The energy I felt when I was charging up is the same thing I felt as this entity passed by. I couldn't put my finger on it. I chalked it up to coincidence and awaited what came next. As the doors closed, he spoke shakily. We require your aid. You are chosen for the task I am about to assign you, and keep in mind, it is no easy one. I was ecstatic. I had no idea what was in store, but from the sounds of it, I had a chance laid before me to become a hero. When do I start? I asked. Immediately, he responded. Our realm has been tainted with an unnatural phenomenon, and we need you to find the cure. The essences of darkness and light are what we believe can aid the situation and pull us out of this needless war with ourselves. Where might I find these essences? Within their respective realms. Just leave the placement to us. We will send you where you need to go. All you must do is return with these essences and bring us the salvation we desire. I will not fail, I finished. I shot into the sky with wings spread, and next thing I knew I was transported. This land I had never seen before. It was not serene like the previous one. Everything was barren and lifeless, just as I suspected the previous realm would be if I did not achieve my goal. The ground here was hard and uneven. I knelt down to feel it. The grooves and cracks looked much different than the ground I stood upon during my inception. It was also warm to the touch. The sky streaked in red like some sort of perpetual dusk. Flashes occasionally occurred, which caught me off guard. Not quite as much, though, as the sounds of yelling. Yelling? What could be making such hateful sounds? I traced the sound to the edge of a cliff. As I brought my gaze down, I froze. It appeared that two factions were engaging in some sort of conflict. Could one of the essences be there? I had no idea what to keep a lookout for. I pulled back from the ridge to devise a plan. I once again did a look-over of my body. Perhaps I had some sort of means to defend myself if things go south. I looked at my hands and noticed some rather odd markings. Were these of importance? I didn't have time to ponder before a voice befell me.
Enjoying the show?
The voice was soft and curious, in contrast to both the yelling I heard earlier as well as the voice of my creator. Like music on the wind, I froze. I had no idea what to expect. I turned around and saw a woman standing before me. How she arrived, I do not know. The plateau on which I stood was barren before I sat down. Her head tilted slightly as I revealed more of my front side to her.
What are you?
She asked.
Well, I've never seen anything like you around here before.
I couldn't form a sentence. Of all the ideas running through my head as to how she could have gotten there, none made sense. How did you manage to sneak up on me? I finally managed to ask.
Oh, that?
A huge smile came across her face.
I'm a chameleon-class vanguard.
A what? She giggled a bit and opened her eyes. Her smile dropped.
You're in danger here. There's a war going on all around you. I'm surprised no one else spotted you.
She continued. That doesn't explain how you got up here, I replied. She looked confused, but eventually I think she understood.
As a chameleon class, I have the ability to become one with the energies in the air. I can reconstitute myself anywhere I like if the energies are similar enough. They are really beautiful. The colors are amazing.
Who was this woman? She seemed lost. As she reached out, I became confused. What are you doing? I asked. She turned to me with another smile.
Aren't they beautiful?
I stared in silence at her. She seemed to make the air embrace her. It was a strange feeling. "Who are you?" I inquired.
Me? My name is Archetype. Who are you, stranger?
"I believe I've been called Sorrow." Her face fell. She looked hurt.
I see. How somber.
She looked off to the red-stained sky and spoke once more.
Sorrow. You'd better get moving.
She began to fizzle away into the air. "Whoa, wait!" I shouted. I realized after I had done this that someone else must have heard me. I heard a commotion approaching the base of the plateau I was situated on. I looked around for anything I could use to defend myself. I didn't have a good idea of what weaponry they would be in possession of. I didn't want to risk getting shot out of the sky if I took flight. I came across a large stone and picked it up as I heard voices growing near me. I scanned the edge of the plateau at the source of the voices, and I placed myself in the middle. I saw a pair of long claws pop up and grip the cliff, followed by another pair. Then another. The beings attached to them finally pulled themselves up. They were hideous. Flesh falling from exposed bone. Weapons made from the remains of enemies I could only assume. They stared right at me and I was frozen. One let out a scream and rushed me. As he swung, I jumped out of the way. And as he passed me, he staggered. I spun around and narrowly avoided being stabbed by the next. I lifted the rock above my head and brought it down on the thing's skull. He fell motionless. This feeling that came over me felt rotten. I hated it, but the feeling that I felt in the presence of these things was far more overwhelming. I looked to the third creature and began running towards it. I wasn't in control of my body, it felt like. It began running towards me as well. I lifted the rock above me once again and faked out the creature. I brought the rock down, but not to strike. The being brought his sword up to block it, but I made a swing from the side, crushing its ribs. It collapsed, screaming. I brought the rock down on its skull repeatedly. I then focused on the first creature who was already charging me. I turned and ran towards the cliff face. I ran off and spread my wings. I picked myself up into the air and looked back as the creature ran off and fell to his death. I spun back and landed on the plateau. I had to find a more tactical approach to this. The land was hostile. I closed my eyes. A jump from this height would surely kill me, and if it didn't, the commotion would alert the beings below and they would finish me off. But what choice did I have? I opened my eyes again and proceeded to the ledge. I had to do it. I was chosen to undertake this task. Would the savior of our gods really be defeated by such a small obstacle? I took a deep breath in and leaned forward. I felt the berating of the air as the speed of my descent increased. The image of Artois crossed my mind.
They are really beautiful. The colors are amazing.
I thought to myself that perhaps I could tap into them. No, that would be unfathomable. I barely understood a thing she said in our brief meeting. I'd have no hope attuning to something like that, but I had to try something. I didn't want to die like this. At that moment, I heard the loud boom of air being stopped. I looked over, and to my surprise, my wings had sprouted on their own. I was no longer falling. The wind was now caressing me instead of enveloping me. It was exhilarating, however. I didn't hold much control. I had to land fast before I crashed. I noticed a small opening in the nearby mountainside. If I headed directly for it, I'd surely meet my demise. I elected to aim for the top of the mountain instead. I knew I would likely be spotted, but at the very least I could circle the air above to slow my landing. I also felt I could reach the cave opening before anything managed to apprehend me. I began my descent and started circling. For the most part, from what I could tell, the creatures below were too preoccupied in battle to notice me soaring overhead. I descended quickly and landed a little roughly, but otherwise I was okay. The height of the mountain shielded me from view as I started scaling down to the cave below. Once I arrived, I'd be able to formulate a plan to harness the essences that my creators highly sought after. Redacted. As the great balance above fractured, my creators whipped into a frenzy. The dark essence sat upon its pedestal, flowing in rapid circles as it was supposed to, but the light essence, it was emitting a terrible screech. As the sound intensified, the essence glowed ever brighter before exploding with catastrophic consequence. The blood of my creators etched the great hall. Those remaining turned their attention to me. You have perverted the purity of balance. Betrayer, snake, demon, destroy him. Now! I was paralyzed by shock. I told my legs to move, but they would not. As several creators closed in on me, I was filled with a sense of impending dread. This was it. This was my end. "You will feel the eternal fire of the abyss for your transgressions," one of them shouted. All at once they dove on top of me and began dismantling me. Blood poured from my destroyed body. My vision blurred heavily as my anguished screams were eventually drowned out by an intense ringing. After a short while, even the ringing abandoned me as all ceased to exist. I had failed. I had been so close to my goal. How had I gone so wrong? I deserved this. I deserved every second. The redaction in Sorrow's story will be shared in Plight of Sorrow,